So all the reviews have started being posted about the Nvidia DGX Spark, and I've been interested in looking at this thing just because I've kind of been curious about maybe adding some local, AI or LLM stuff to my home server. And so I've been looking at a lot of the reviews, and I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticed, but the reviews aren't good. And I don't mean that the performance isn't good. I mean, the actual reviews themselves all seem pretty soft. So, like, what I mean is, if you watch the reviews, they don't really seem to be doing what you would expect in testing these machines. Like, they're not benchmarking them versus the AMD competition, and most of them aren't benchmarking them against like the Apple competition. So, it's very odd because it seems pretty clear that what's happened is that these reviewers have all gotten these units directly from Nvidia, and I guess they've had to sign NDAs and maybe signed on to agreements that wouldn't let them either criticize these machines or wouldn't let them test them head to head versus AMD stuff because again, it seems like not one of them has tested them versus like the AI 395 stuff from AMD, which is odd because that's the most obvious comparison. It's weird because these are like reviewers that I really respect. I mean, Wendell from Level 1 Techs is like one of the hallmarks of like highly technical, skilled, honest reviewers. You got Serve the Home. I've used a lot of their reviews whenever I was building my home server. Great website, great reviewer, total softball, it looked like review. Network Chuck, that review, again, like, let's go in and, again, look at the comments that have been left on these things. So the first comment on the Level 1 text, I am surprised there were no benchmark numbers against AMD Strix Halo 395 Plus or the Mac Mini or others. Is Jensen scared of Strix Halo taking his lunch or something? This would be totally reasonable at half the price. The actual people watching these reviews are not bound by any NDA, and so they're like, look, we need a Spark versus Strix Halo or Mac Studio comparison with benchmarks. But isn't it obvious? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you benchmark this thing against the clear competition at release? If we go into the Serve the Home video, first response, compare it to the AMD Ryzen AI Max 395 128GB. I had a nosebleed when you said the price. We shut down the hype by it's $4,000. And so again, you read through these, and again, why is literally nobody comparing this to the Minis Forum MSS1 or any of the 128 unified memory AMD chips? Like, this is weird. Again, it seems very obvious that like there's been some sort of deal struck with this. Go to the Network Chuck review, and again, one of the first comments, why did this video feel like I'm supposed to do some promotion for Nvidia in exchange for getting this device, but I'm really struggling to justify the price to performance ratio of this thing? So here's, one response. We got one response. Now, one thing that has also stuck out to me is that on all these comments, there haven't been any responses. Now, again, it's very early, so I'm sure maybe they pushed the video. It's still the morning, and so maybe they haven't actually gotten to read the comments yet. But Network Chuck did respond to this, and he said, obviously, NVIDIA sent the device. And look, that's the very first sentence of the review. Let me play it for you. Hopefully, I don't get copyright claimed here, but
Nvidia sent me this.
Nvidia sent me this. And everybody has. All the reviewers, these are review units that have been sent out, so they didn't pay for these with their own money. Network Chuck, in his response, and again, kudos for responding this, said that they sent the device with no strings attached. Okay, now, to me, with no strings attached meant he could have done anything he wanted, which really makes it stand out. Why on earth wouldn't you put this thing in benchmarks head-to-head versus the major competition from AMD and Apple? So it's very odd. Now, he does say a little bit here about how he didn't have a lot of time with it as he only got it for days. But again, you would think in prep, you would already have your benchmarks kind of ready to go, and then you would just test this thing and drop them in. Said he had a script written for the story I anticipated and then had to pivot. So it's very odd to me that there aren't any head-to-head benchmarks in any of these reviews, given that, again, a lot of these reviewers have already benchmarked these other systems. So it's not like they didn't know the performance level of the AMD systems. And again, I don't want to call them out as I don't like these channels or I don't like these people. I think, Serve the Home, Level 1 Techs, these are great reviewers. I'm just a little disappointed at how they handled this, and I'm curious as to were they locked into NDAs. And again, Network Check says, nope, was free to do whatever I wanted, which again just makes it really odd that all of them seem to make the same choice not to put up benchmarks. And again, they benchmark these devices, but not to put up head-to-head benchmarks. Very, very weird. Especially, and again, I'm not trying to knock these people. I'm just saying this is how weird it seems. Serve the Home even has multiple other boxes on the table to do a size comparison, but no benchmark comparisons. So again, I am like, man, it really feels like the reviewers have let us all down here. If I'm being blunt, I mean, look, maybe they will hear this as the feedback that it's meant to be. I am not meant to be critical of them as people. I am not saying they are bad at their jobs. I'm saying Level 1 Tech, Serve the Home, Network Check, these big reviewers, these are the core people that we look to give us honest assessments. And it feels like they all dropped the ball on the DGX Spark and just not providing the things that you would really expect you would provide with your reviews. So I don't know what the heck's going on, and I certainly appeared to not be the only one that's noticed this. Again, don't be mean, don't be cruel. Understand they probably had some. Again, despite what's being said, what I guess has happened is that there was an NDA. There was probably within the NDA something that said you can't mention that there's an NDA that said that they couldn't test them head to head in their reviews versus AMD until maybe post launch or something. It is disappointing though, and the end payoff seems to be that the performance is not that much better. The price is really high. It does look like maybe the prompt processing performance might be pretty good, but the actual LLM performance, the generation performance, isn't that great. So yeah, just kind of disappointed with the reviews. They just seem not very well done, and I wonder if they were all shackled in their access that they couldn't really do what we all know really should have been done with these reviews. Love to hear your feedback and comments. Again, don't take this and slam people. Again, they're trying to do their job, and I'm sure that there were some constraints put on them, but I think we as a community kind of expected better than what we got out of these reviews today. So that's all for me. Appreciate it. Thanks.